Hey guys, it's Mr. Burns here, coming at you with another vocab set, Unit 5 vocab. That's going to be our legislative branch, which covers the national, state, and local legislative branch. So it's going to be a little bit longer, 16 words, and in a couple weeks when the vocab is due, due date will be posted in class. You will have a quiz that day. And remember, this year, we're doing Unit 4 and 5 combined as a test. So coming up after that, a little bit after the vocab's due, you'll have a test as well. Okay, so this is Unit 5 vocab legislative branch. Remember the definitions and that you're going to write down now. You have to do the your definition or example and the colored picture and visual columns for homework. And you should have that done by the day of the quiz. Okay, make sure those definitions are unique, your own definitions or examples. Make sure those pictures as well. All right, here we go on the first page. We're going to start with bicameral, bi meaning two, cameral meaning parts or houses. So we have a two-part bicameral legislature in both the national and state level of government. We have our Congress, made up of the House of Representatives and Senate, and we have our General Assembly, made up of the House of Delegates and Virginia Senate. And there's a picture of the Capitol building, which is where Congress presides. All right, our next word is biennial, which means every 2 years. Again, it starts with bi, so bi and ennial meaning yearly. So every 2 years. The governor of Virginia prepares a biennial budget, and the state General Assembly, the Virginia General Assembly, must approve it every 2 years. Okay, that's why we learned that word. Next is a bill, and many of you have seen the I'm Just a Bill Schoolhouse Rock song, which at some point this unit we will probably watch. A bill is a rough draft of a law. It's a proposed law that isn't finished yet. And it gets revised several times through the lawmaking process. It gets voted on several times, debated on, and eventually ends up on the desk of the executive leader who can sign or veto that law. If it's signed into law, it becomes a new law. Okay. All right, next is commerce. When you think of commerce, you should think of trade or business. And one of the national government, one of their express powers is to regulate interstate trade and commerce. Interstate means between states. Okay, we'll learn about that one that's coming up. Intra, I-N-T-R-A, state means within the state, like within Virginia. So the General Assembly would monitor intrastate trade, trade between businesses or people in Virginia. Okay, next is the word delegate. Delegate is similar to a representative, a person that is elected or authorized to represent others. Usually that is, it's usually used in a term in a smaller setting than like the House of Representatives, but in the House of Delegates, these people are elected and they represent certain districts or certain areas within the state. All right, next is the word enact. And this is going to be used at the local level of government, but enacting ordinances or local laws is establishing or starting. It's just another vocab word for starting or creating something new, enact. All right, continuing foreign policy. This is one of our express powers of the national level of government. And what they do here is foreign meaning other nations and policy meaning rules or guidelines. So it's guidelines for dealing with foreign nations or foreign leaders, our allies, and our hostile countries. Okay. All right, number 10 or slide number 10 should be the 8th word that you're working on. Here is impeach. And a lot of you might be confused with this one. To be impeached does not mean to be removed from office. Impeach means to be charged with a crime if you are a government official, okay? So it could be an executive leader, it could be a member of Congress that's removed from office or impeached, charged, and ultimately removed. It could be a Supreme Court or a federal judge who do something wrong. Okay? All right, let's go to the next page. Always stay hydrated, though. All right, there's interstate. I mentioned that word before, didn't I not? Interstate trade, between states. So an interstate highway goes over, into multiple states or multiple areas. So like Interstate 95 goes all the way from Massachusetts or Boston, actually I think Maine, all the way down to Miami. All right, Interstate 66 goes from Virginia into DC. All right, legislature is a lawmaking body. So an example of this would be Congress, the General Assembly at the state level, Board of Supervisors at the county level, city or town council at the county level, at the city level, I'm sorry. And then we have a mandate. It's not when two men go out and hang out like a bromance, okay? It is an official order or commission to do something. So a mandate here would be like where the national government tells the state that they have to do something, that they have to enforce this law more stringently, or they have to, create a law that says something similar to other states, and they may or may not provide funding for that. So states might have to be mandated to do something, but have to provide funding on their own. Okay, and then we have an ordinance. That's a local law. So a noise ordinance is a great example where, after a certain hour, you have to, lower your music or, remain quiet, move indoors if you're having some kind of festivities outside. All right. Last four, here we go. Override, to cancel the action of. So to override is actually to cancel. It's kind of like to cancel the cancel, right? The lawmaking process, we go through it. At the end, the president can sign or veto the law. If the president vetoes the law, that's canceling it. To override the veto would be to cancel the cancel or cancel the veto. Congress can do that with 2/3 vote of each house. And similar at the state level as well, okay, where they can override a veto. Not easy to do, though. Very difficult. Usually once it's vetoed, it's hard to override because you need that super majority. All right, pandemic, not the board game, but that's the picture I chose. But a pandemic, we're going to use that word when we talk about local government, how they're supposed to react to international crises first. And one of the examples that our curriculum uses is responding to a pandemic, okay, a wide spreading disease. Responding to a act of terrorism or something like that. A pandemic, it could be an act of terrorism, right? They could a environmental terrorist group could spread some kind of disease, and it would be local government's jobs to respond first. And if they need help, they ask the state, and if the state needs help, they ask the country, the national government. All right, two more. We got regulate. So one of our policies or one of the things that our legislative branch does is they try to manage certain situations and certain topics, okay? And they set the rules for certain things. It's kind of like creating policy, okay? And regulating trade, for instance, setting certain guidelines. All right, last one is revenue. We've talked about this word before with Finance Park and earlier this year with taxes, okay? But it's basically how our government makes its money through taxes, right? That the revenue is the total amount of tax money that the governing body has. So that's revenue. You're going to see that at the state, national, state, and local levels. All right, so your task now is to get this done over the next couple weeks by the posted due date, color the pictures, create your own definitions. If you have any questions, come see me in A110. You know where I am. You know where I be. Have a great day.